There's I guess not a memo, a directive that's come through from the city clerk's office, and
is this the one here? This memo?
That's the one.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes, and basically what it has said to is for all the candidates, and it said to us, if you have a question of staff, you have to go to the city manager to ask that question. You don't go to, as a candidate, you don't go to the staff person. You have to direct any questions through the city manager. And she will, in this case it's a she, I don't know whether this is all over the province. I've never heard of it before, and I find it objectionable. And if it is all over the province, then it needs to be dealt with on a provincial level.
Why do you find it objectionable?
Well, as I'll go further into this,
sure,
and show you the objectionable part to me. So the city manager will take your question and give you a written answer within a week. That's the suggested time. It could be more or less. Now, just for the record, I am not known as a patient person. And if I ask a question, if I don't get the answer within a short time, and I'm talking hours, probably day at the most, then I will take that same question and approach it in different ways with different people until I get an answer. The idea of waiting for a week, I mean, there are candidates who are not going to announce until September the 12th, and if they have questions to ask before the election, they're going to find themselves a little short of time if they have concerns about some of the answers. But anyway, my experience just recently was to ask a staff person in the clerk's office if I could get a record of the vote for the fluoride question. It was asked of me by somebody, and I thought, oh, that's a good question. Who did vote for the referendum and who opposed? And this person was able to give me the answer within minutes, 5 minutes. And I don't feel that I needed to go to a city manager to get that question. And I don't think it had to be in writing.
So this was a recent question that you had. And so this directive came down after that?
It's almost simultaneous.
Okay, so you asked the question, you received an answer.
I got an answer, and then I got
And then you received a directive. Have you ever seen a directive like this before?
Never, no.
In any previous election?
No, I haven't. And then the other thing that I find offensive in this is that the answer to the question that you must direct to the city manager, and the city manager is a gatekeeper, obviously, of questions, because she may decide to answer this question for you and she will approach whoever she feels she should, or she will set up the appointment for you to meet with that person, and the answers will be recorded. Now, in both cases, the answers to the questions will be passed to all the other candidates, the written answers. The rationale behind that I find perplexing. If there is a suggestion that it should be, say, a level playing field, everybody should have all the same information, politics aren't a level playing field. That I think the public should know who is doing their homework, who is asking the questions, or getting the answers at least. You can tell by what the candidates are presenting that they have or have not taken the time, have the thought to go through this. So you could find someone who was quite prepared to sit back and let everybody ask all the questions, get all the answers, and present them in a very, I don't know, a flashy way or something that appears as if they really know what they're doing. And at the end of the day, that may not be the case at all. And yet people will feel that, hey, this person has really been doing their homework.
So the concern would be that candidates who are not doing their research would piggyback essentially off the efforts and initiative of of other candidates who are
doing
the work.
And it seems, I don't understand what the rationale would be behind sharing answers with everyone.
Did this come from anyone in particular in the city government, or
it came from the clerk's office?
From the clerk's office.
And we have a big, about a 40-page about the election and about advertising finances. A lot of it is finances, and it's all important. Now, when this came, it was in addition to what we've already been given. So,
was there any rationale provided for the?
No. Any questions about the election itself go to the clerk or Glenn Henry, who is looking after elections. That makes total sense. Total sense. But if I have a question like who voted on the referendum for the fluoridation, then that's so simple and so direct, just to go and ask the question. Now, I'm probably in a different position than a new candidate. Now, these rules, according to the memo, and I'll certainly give you a copy of it, apply to council members as well as candidates. So, but realistically, it's not likely to be quite the same. It really isn't. It's a bit naive to think that as of the moment a councillor or mayor declares that they are letting their name stand again, that they're going to stop having those conversations. I don't think that's realistic.
So you have a concern about the fairness of this, essentially, that it creates two tiers of access to information.
I don't know that's, I don't have that concern personally. My concern would be more that I couldn't ask, if I have a question about the budget, that I could not ask the director of finance. Like that, when I first ran for council as a councillor, the staff were really good to me about sitting down with me, because it's to their advantage as well to explain their role and to help candidates understand what it is that their department deals with. And why wouldn't they do that? I know everybody's busy and we hear that, but this is part of the job. And it's doing a little long-range planning when they take the time to educate. The situation with the buses, I find that has been so mishandled. It's been confusing at best, but devastating for a lot of people at most. There are people that are, they must have the transit, and the indecision and the changing of minds, and I'm quite sure going to end up exactly where it all started. In the meantime, people are unsure about what actually is going on.
Anything else that comes to mind?
Marine and Rail Museum. What were they thinking? That was, you just shake your head at something like that. And along with that, the decision to move the visitor center to City Hall, that to me was bizarre. City Hall is closed on Saturdays and Sundays, which is when most of the visitors come to the area. To park a bus or a trailer at City Hall, and how can you make decisions like that? That it just didn't make sense.